Hello, everyone, and welcome to Schwab Coaching. My name is Cameron May. I'm a Senior Manager of Trading and Derivatives Education here at Schwab, and this is Getting Started with Thinkorswim. And today we're going to be learning a powerful back-testing tool on the Thinkorswim desktop platform called On Demand. It allows the trader to sort of hop into a little time machine, go back in time, and trade strategies, explore studies as though they were trading historically, and then watch those trades as they develop in real time, or they can actually speed it up. It's really an interesting tool. I think a lot of you are going to enjoy this one. I think we probably already have a lot of fans of the on-demand tool in the audience right now. But before we can get into the exploration of that tool, let me first of all say hello to everybody who's already chatting in out there in YouTube. Great to see all the familiar names. Good to see some new names out there. So hello there, Ricebird and Jack, Robert, Eva, Lawrence, Rojo, JDLMI, Dram, Selva, everybody else. Thanks for joining us week after week. We always appreciate your attendance and your contributions to these discussions. If you happen to be here for the very first time, I want to welcome you as well. And if you're watching on the YouTube archive after the live stream is concluded, enjoy that recording. It's a great way to watch these webcasts. But be aware that you're invited to join us in the live stream. And if you'd like to be here, this is a Wednesday webcast series. We kick things off promptly at 2 Eastern time. Love to have you in our live stream audience. And as a treat for our live stream audience members, we are being joined in the chat by Connie Hill. Connie and I have now worked together for a couple of decades. Connie brings a lot of experience to this. She's going to be keeping an eye on the chats. She's going to be addressing any questions that I can't get to just during the flow of the presentation. So thank you there for being there and having my back there, Connie. Connie and I would also like to issue an invitation to everybody watching to follow us on social media. You can find Connie and me on X. So you can follow Connie on X at Connie Hill CS. You can find me on X at Cameron May CS. Now you can also, as of a couple of months ago, follow me on LinkedIn. Just go to linkedin.com/in and then /Cameron May CS will take you right to my profile. You can give me a follow there. But let's get right into this discussion. As we go through this on-demand tool, it's a historical back testing tool, but previous success is not a guarantee of future performance. So be aware of that. And also please bear in mind all of these important disclosures. All corporate or issuer names and market data shown are for illustrative purposes only and are not a recommendation, offer to sell, or a solicitation of an offer to buy any security. Options carry a high level of risk and are not suitable for all investors. Schwab does not recommend the use of technical analysis as a sole means of investment research, and investing involves risks, including the loss of principal. All right, so with that accomplished, that set an agenda for today's discussion. We're going to be acquainting ourselves with a tool known as On Demand. Now, what I need to let everybody know here is that the On Demand tool is only available on the live Thinkorswim desktop platform. I've covered this tool a couple of times in the past. It's been months since I've addressed it. But one thing I do remember is that I tend to always have somebody say, hey, I can't find the tool. Not available on Paper Money. So we will be going to a demonstration live platform. It's still a fake account, but we're going to go there, acquaint ourselves with the navigation of the on-demand tool. We're going to use it to sort of hop back in time, and we're going to demonstrate how it might be used to test strategies and technical charting tools on Thinkorswim. It's a great tool. Let's go right to it. I'm going to pop over to the Thinkorswim desktop platform. Now, again, you'll notice up here in the upper left-hand corner, it doesn't say simulated. It's a fake live account, okay? But up in the upper right is our on-demand feature. So let me ask a question now. As I go to this on-demand feature, how many of you are currently using or have used the on-demand feature? Are you familiar with it? Just chat in a quick yes or no. I always like to see the level of familiarity with the things that I'm discussing among my audience members. And I can see we have about 80 people watching the live stream right now. I would guess there are probably 10 or 15, maybe 20 that are familiar with this tool. There are going to be a lot that aren't familiar with it. So I want to make sure that I go at a pace that everybody can follow. Yeah, Becca, right now, Becca says, nope, not familiar with it. Zach, nope. Lawrence, nope. Yeah, okay. Jack, oh, that's a lot of no's. We haven't seen a yes yet. Cool. All right, well, that's good. I like to bring new things to people. Okay, so let's explore just exactly what this on demand is. So I've kind of teased what it is, but this is a tool that allows a trader to experiment with new concepts using historical data. Have we ever come across a new strategy for trading or maybe a chart technical technique? And we think, well, I wonder how this might have played out had I been trading it over the last 6 months or the last year. Well, this tool actually will take the thinkorswim platform and roll back in time. It retrieves all sorts of chart data, all sorts of quote data for stocks and for options, and allows a trader to trade as though it were 6 months ago, as though it were a year ago, and we're in control of the calendar. So we can move forward in time, we can move back in time, obviously in a simulated environment, but that's what this does. So let's do it. I'm going to click on demand, and this is going to give us a little heads up here regarding what this tool is. So I'm going to read through this so that we get ourselves well acquainted with it. You've just started Think on Demand, a powerful back testing tool that lets you replay any trading day from it says the last several months. Now, this thing's been expanded. I've explored this, and it actually goes back about 15 years. Yeah. So from the last, let's say, decade and a half, and test your trading skills with simulated trades based on that historical data. The capabilities of this tool include running Think on Demand, and we'll just typically refer to this as just on demand, 24/7 at your convenience, even on nights and weekends. You can select previous trading days in the upper right-hand corner, as well as fast forward and pause the data or reset our virtual account, which is within this on demand. When we go back in time, it preloads this portfolio with $100,000 of paper money. So now the trader can start to trade just some example trades. Now we can watch tick by tick the price changes for stocks and options and other derivatives. We can simulate trading of stocks and options and other things, just as you would in a live account by clicking on the bid or the ask prices. We can watch the profit or loss of the simulated positions on the position statement. That's on that monitor tab. You might think of it as just a monitor tab, but when we're monitoring the progress of trade, we go to that monitor tab and we look down at what's called the position statement. So we can watch the profits or losses accrue as the trading day proceeds, or we can fast forward to another date. And then when we're done, we can click the on-demand button again to go back to our real live trading account. Now, one thing that it doesn't mention here is when we place trades here, let's say we're experimenting, we buy an option, we buy a stock, and we leave it in play, but then we turn off the on-demand feature. Well, the next time we go launch on demand, that trade will still be there as of this historical date that we traded it. That's kind of an interesting feature. But I'm going to leave this check mark on here, always show this message. I like seeing that. It's a quick reminder of what this tool does. So here we are on demand, and already this has slipped back in time. This is already somewhat historical. Right now, as of the recording of this discussion, it's December 31st. It's New Year's Eve, but you'll notice right up here in the upper right, next to that on-demand button, we'll see a date, and it says December 29th. So this has already gone back a couple of days. It doesn't know how far we want to go back, but I do want to show us. Let's go back in time. Are you ready to jump in the Wayback Machine? Are you ready? Who's going to be Marty McFly and who's going to be a Doc Brown? I don't know. But let's click on this. And how about we go back a couple of years? So you'll notice as I click on the little calendar icon, it allows me to go backward a month at a time by clicking this the one arrow to the left, or I can go forward a month at a time by clicking this right arrow, or I can go back a year at a time by clicking the double arrow. That's the one I want to do. So right now we're looking at December 2025. Let's go back to December, how about December 2023, and let's start off the month. So we are about to click go, and this is going to take us back to 8:09, that's Mountain Standard Time, it's my local time, December 2023 on the first of the month. As I click go, you'll now notice up here in the upper left, it says pre-buffering, and as it does that, so here's what's happening behind the scenes. We've already seen our chart change. So if I look at this chart of the S&P 500 and I go to the far right margin, this last candle is no longer we were looking at the 29th of December 2025, but this is now the S&P 500 as it was performing in the days and the weeks leading up to December 1st of 2023. Now, with that pre-buffering that we saw up in the upper left-hand corner, it can take a little while. Sometimes it's a few seconds, sometimes it might be up to a minute or so. That's okay, be patient with it, because this is loading a ton of data. It is literally tick by tick data across, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of stocks, all kinds of options, different strikes, different expirations. All of that is being loaded into the platform. And now it's as though, hey, we've just hit 88 miles per hour in our time machine. We've gone back to 2023. I'm sorry for all the Back to the Future references. If you might not know what I'm talking about, but we've gone back in time. Anyway, and we are now putting ourselves in the shoes of a trader looking at trading stocks or options or whatever back on December 1st of 2023. So let's see this sort of playing out in real time. This is interesting. If you'll notice up here, our clock is still moving forward. So we went back in time, but it's already advancing. And our chart is updating. JDLMI, I'll just have to say the answer to that question is yes. Okay. Sorry, that's going to be a little quick answer between me and JDLMI. Eva says, does it work for options? Yeah, let's do an options trade today, Eva. But how about first thing I want to do, I want to see tick by tick things changing. Just pretend we're back here the morning of December 1st of 2023. So I'm going to switch our chart time frame to just a tick chart. And let's go one tick at a time. Now we could go multiple ticks. Let's go one tick at a time just for today, today being the December 21st, 2023. And this is going to change to a tick chart. And just to make this a little bit more readable to my viewers, I'm going to switch the style of chart to, let's go to a line chart. Just makes it easier to see. Then if I were to zoom in, we can literally watch time going by. It really feels, it's kind of a weird feeling. I'm watching the markets develop moment by moment back to December 21st or December 1st of 2023. So that's very interesting. Kind of makes my point. Now let's go do some trading. And how about we go with Eva's proposal? Let's say that we were going to trade a stock. All right. I'm going to switch my time frame back here. Let's go back to a one-year chart. Let's switch our chart style back to a candle chart. We don't need to see that developing tick by tick. But maybe our trader here is looking at what's been happening on the S&P 500 to set the stage for whatever option strategy they're about to employ, since we're talking about options at the moment. Let's say that they saw, all right, leading up to the first part of December, it looked like we were in a downtrend. However, in recent weeks, more of an uptrend. So maybe we'll do a bullish trade, Eva. All right, how about we look at a long call? Let's see what's going on with Apple back in the day. So I'm going to switch to Apple. So this is now Apple as of December 1st of 2023. And it looks like we've just run up and kind of flattened out. What do some traders refer to that as? Could be a bull flag. Not a perfect traditional bull flag because it wasn't a great upward trend leading up to this apparent flag pole. But for whatever reason, let's say that our trader thought maybe our stock is going to go up for a period of time. Now, if we were back in 2025, looking over the new year to 2026, we might just have to place our trade and then sit there and twiddle our thumbs and wait for experience to develop over real time. It can take a long time to acquire trading experience. Well, this can speed up that process. Let's go buy a call for Apple. And notice the rest of the platform is functioning just basically as normal. I will say most of the rest of the platform. There are some things that you're going to be used to having on our normal platform, and it's not going to be available here. So for example, if I were to try to go find the fundamental data for Apple, you know, it's corporate earnings, it's EPS over the last 5 years or whatever, that's not going to be here. But quote data, yes. Options data, yes. Moment by moment performance of that data from the time of our trades, yeah, we can do that. So let's go to the trade tab. Let's go down to, I don't know, let's go to this 19th of January of 2024. Notice our options chain has backdated itself to the appropriate time. Looks like the 1st of December was a Friday, so these contracts are about to expire. Let's go out to a 49-day contract. And what are we trading at? At that moment, $190. How about we buy the 190 call? So just like we would place a normal trade, we click on the ask price to create a buy order. This by default in my portfolio is just going to be one contract. In some portfolios, depending on how the account is structured, it could be 10 contracts. So just like with a normal trade, we check the quantity. We might check our price. We can set market orders or limit orders. How about we do, for this example, I want to get into this one quickly. Let's do a market order. Looks like our spread, as is fairly typical with Apple contracts, not terribly wide. But I'm going to click confirm and send and just buy one Apple January 2024 call, the 190 strike, for, let's see if we can get it for $5.60 or $560 for our investment. Now notice here, it's not reminding us that there can be commissions on some types of trades, but an options trade typically would be associated with a commission, just not on a fake historical trade. So let's click send, and we just virtually bought 100 shares of Apple historically. That's interesting. Well, let's now go to our monitor tab, and our monitor tab is now keeping track of this Apple trade. And due to the bid-ask price slippage, the spread between the bid price and the ask price, we're a little bit underwater. That's not surprising. That's pretty typical. Now what we could do is we go to our chart and just see how things play out. Let's play a little game here. We can actually advance our time here. I could click on this and advance things just a minute at a time. Notice by hitting the up or down arrows, I just advance forward a few minutes. I can click these side arrows to step things forward by 10 minutes. Eva, you say this is so cool? Yeah, really cool. I can go forward. Let's do this. Let's click on that. Now keep your eye on this. Did you notice the chart just updated? It's 8:26 on December 21st. I'll click it again. It's 8:36 on December 1st. If I go, now this is pre-buffering. It's loading up the new data to that point. And I go to my monitor tab. It looks like we're still not performing terribly well. Still sort of treading water. Apple probably didn't move very much in those 20 or so minutes that I've advanced. Well, let's go forward a little bit further in time. And as we do, how about we do this from our charts so we can see things here? Let's go forward. How about a week? So as I click on the 8th and I click go, it's going to load. And that's what's happened in that week. So we didn't have the luxury of seeing it. So we have to make trading decisions blindly about the future, which is the way real life works. So that really makes this a realistic, a very close to real experience for planning and placing trades. So it looks like, let's see, where was the first? The first was right there. So this white candle was the first. Looks like we're up a bit, but it's been a few days. Looks like we went up about $3. So we have time decay. We have a price change. Let's go see what's happened with our call. And we are up $230 on this. Let's do it one more time. Go back to our charts. Let's pop this forward maybe another week. Click go. And okay, it looks like we advanced a bit more. Now we're up about probably $7 or $8 from our entry. Let that continue pre-buffering. It has to load up the whole platform with all of this data again. And then we just go back to the monitor tab, and it looks like that trade is now at $454. So I could actually leave this order in. I could shut down on demand, go do my normal trading, go over to paper money, close down for the day, come back next month, reload on demand. And if I set my date to after December 1st, this Apple trade's still going to be there. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Unless I clear it out, obviously, if I close it out. Now, another thing is, if we have some trades in here and we don't want them in there anymore, there is a reset button up here. So if I click on reset, it's not actually going to reset anything just yet. It's going to give me a choice. Are we just resetting our time? That would take us back to 2025. Or are we resetting the entire account, setting it back to square one, $100,000 of play money, and just sort of wiping the slate clean? I'm not going to do that yet. Probably will at the end of today's presentation. But that's it for an example option trade. How about we do a stock trade? And since we're sitting here on December, what was it? December 15th, a couple of weeks forward from the first. Let's see what's going on with, how about Google? All right, looks like Google. Let me get rid of this drawing here. I'm going to right click here, remove that drawing. Looks like there is some choppiness here. The highs are coming lower. The lows are going higher. For some, they might call that what's called a symmetrical triangle. That would be just to really make the point here, literally the point of the triangle. Sorry, that's a pun. But a symmetrical triangle is typically interpreted as a consolidation of whatever previous trend had been established. It looks like we had an upward trend back in 2023, stretching back to probably 2022. Then when we get a consolidation, a typical technical interpretation here is that's just sort of the stock taking an outward breath, getting ready to start moving upward again. It's not a guarantee. Let's say that our trader has that conviction. It looks like we're the bottom side of that candle, of that triangle. Maybe they expect prices to go higher. So this time, instead of buying the option, let's just buy a stock. Let's go to our trade tab. And it looks like it's a $132 stock. Let's buy 100 shares. We have $100,000 to play with. We've only spent about 560 bucks of that on our Apple call. So I'm going to click on the ask price, just like with a normal stock trade. Let's change this to a market order and click confirm and send. Buying 100 shares of Google, going to cost us about 13,000 bucks. Placing that at the market with market orders. There's certainly a risk that we might not be thrilled with the price we're paying. This is just a simulated environment anyway. So I'm going to send this off. Mad Note says this will help when looking at historical prices. Yeah, historical prices on a stock chart are easy to get. Historical prices on individual strike prices on options, not so easy, especially when those things have expired. You don't know what the trading symbol was for the option anymore. Yeah, this is a nifty tool. So I'm going to send this order off and we'll let that work. Bought those shares at 132.37. And if we go to our monitor tab, we now own a call on Apple. We have shares of Google or Alphabet. Purchased those shares at 132.37. By the way, if I click on the Apple, it gives us the details. That's just the same way it works in real time. So we bought the shares at 132.37. Oh, look at that. We're at break even. The market price is 132.37. So we're right about what we paid for it. Let's go to our chart. Let's move forward. Should we just skip forward a couple of weeks this time? How about we go to the 29th of December? We click go and let's see. All right, looks like we bounced off that lower end of our triangle. Maybe we popped up and the trader is happy so far with the trade. But what's interesting is that we could actually advance this one day at a time, and that trader could be making new trade decisions. Let's say we got that bounce up. Maybe we had an initial stop planned as we were touching off these support lows. Maybe the original stop was right here. And as we advance a day at a time, the trader notes that we start to break out through the triangle ceiling. Maybe that's a time to consider moving the stop up. But we're making faster trading decisions, but in a simulated historical environment. It's not just simulated, it's actually the way things actually worked. So that's kind of nice. Let's see. JDLMI says on demand is saved if you log off. Yes. Yep. So, for example, let me show you how to shut it down. By the way, as I do this, keep your eye on here, up here on these tools that we've been acquainting ourselves with. We've already used the reset button. You can pause things, by the way. Notice that time is going by. We have the power of control over time. If we just want to pause, we want to think, we can just hit that pause button. When we're ready going again, we just click play and on it goes. But these buttons have to have space to fit up there. So one thing that I've learned, I had to figure this out, is if we have this left column open and we've kind of stretched it too wide, there's not enough space up here for all of our tools anymore. So we can't see the reset button and we can't go back to real time. Our on-demand button has disappeared. And this, for me, for about a minute there, am I stuck? Do I have to close out the platform? No, just because we've opened up this left column too far. If we just take it over to about right here, we can see this go back to the future button. But we can't even see our reset button yet. So yeah, if you're missing things up here, just hide this left column, and that allows us to see all those buttons. So let me just click on the on demand again, and this is going to take us back to 2025. So here we are back looking at Alphabet back in 2025. Let's say that we close our computer down, we go away, we come back, we do some trading in a real account or in paper money, and then we think, you know what, I'm going to relaunch on demand. Well, if I click on demand again, it gives me this little heads up. It's going to take us back 2 days again. So we're back to December 29th. Let's go back. How about we go, boop. Oh, here we are. Let me go forward again. December 23rd, the 29th of December. Actually, pardon me. It would just, I was expecting it to go back to the 2025. Nope, we're back in 2023. Okay. And if I go to my monitor tab, those positions are still there. Yeah. All right, now let me just, I want to double check my, oh yeah, there was one thing I wanted to show. Let me go to the charts. And there was one other potential reason a trader might be taking a trade. Maybe they're not just applying their own discretion to a price chart, but they're also testing out maybe a technical indicator, such as, let's say, a MACD. Let's throw in a MACD histogram here. So yes, all of your favorite Thinkorswim technical indicators are here. So we can add those to our charts and put those through the historical test. So for example, maybe the reason for our Alphabet trade was the trader has noticed, this is fairly typical with someone who uses a MACD histogram. When we dip low on the MACD into bright red territory, and then we start to shift upward into dark red, you've heard me say before, I refer to this as a red shift. Kind of like as light waves are moving further or coming toward you or move further away, they're more red or blue. Anyway, this is a red shift, my name, that might signal when we go from bright red to dark red that the stock is possibly at a short-term low and starting to go up again. Well, that's an assumption. Does it always work? No, but this is where we might be able to test that assumption. And it looks like we had just had a red shift, interestingly. Looks like that aligned pretty nicely with our touch right on that trend line. And so maybe the trader was testing that. And as it runs up, uh-oh, now we have a green shift, which isn't, as far as I know, a term in astronomy or physics. So we'll just mint that term right now. There's a green shift. Maybe it's time to get out. Maybe that's the trader's reason for getting out. So here's in, here's out. That's just trading according to historical data. So really a nice, powerful tool. I think you can see the possibilities for this tool. It's definitely one that takes a little bit of getting used to, but basically it's the normal platform. And the one thing to get used to is just the navigation of the on-demand features right up here. And I think you've seen those demonstrated. Eva says, oh yeah, Michael J. Fox, 5'4". I think you're a tad taller than Michael J. Fox. That would make me about 15 inches taller. Yeah. Curious PT says, I don't see the on-demand button on my Thinkorswim screen. Do I need to turn on a setting somewhere? The most likely issue that you're running into there is that on-demand is only available on the live platform, not available on paper money. If you're on the live platform and you're not seeing it, well, this wouldn't even be an issue. It's probably because you're on paper money. I was about to say something I don't even need to say. So let's see. AC says, are indicators on a current chart included when you use on demand, or do you have to add them? Watch this, AC. Let's shut this off. Okay. Yeah, if they're on the current chart, or if you've added them on demand, they stay on the chart as we turn off that tool. All right, there we go. Guys, that is the on-demand tool. I think we've done a pretty good job of navigating it. We've experimented with it with stocks and with options. So now it might be time to go out and play around with it on your own. Just remember, live platform only. I'll let you go do that. But time for me to let you go. I want you to go enjoy your new year. So happy new year to everybody. This is my last webcast, obviously, of 2025. I'll definitely see you in 2026. We have a full slate of webcasts on Friday. So tomorrow's a holiday. Friday is a normal market day, and it's a normal slate of Schwab webcasts. So we'll definitely look for you there. But still, a quick reminder of the additional resources that you have from Schwab Education. Number one is if this is your first time watching one of our webcasts, and if you haven't subscribed to our Trader Talks channel yet, do that right now. You can pop down below the video, click on the subscribe button. It only takes a second. It doesn't cost anything. But our YouTube channel, Trader Talks Schwab Coaching Webcasts, is where you can join our live streams, and you can access our playlists of previous webcasts. So for example, if you wanted to see my discussion from last week on getting started with Thinkorswim, you click on playlists, scroll all the way to the bottom. We have tons of playlists. Mine just happens to be the last one. Click on view full playlist for getting started with Thinkorswim. And there's my Thinkorswim charts for beginners, a first timers setup guide. That was last week. So enjoy that. Also want to invite you to follow your favorite Schwab presenters on social media. So you can find Connie on X at Connie Hill CS. You can find me on X at Cameron May CS. So here's my handle. But if you reply to one of my posts here, I try to reply right back to you. For example, today I made this post where I noted that the S&P, in order for us to have what we'd consider a traditional Santa rally, the S&P would typically need to close above the December 23rd closing price. So a Santa rally is typically seen as stock prices going up in the last 5 days of the end of the year, and then the first 2 days, the start of a new year. But we're not off to a good start. So I just wanted to see what my followers think. Are we actually going to accomplish the Santa rally? So far, we've started up, we've come back, we're below the line where we need to be in order to say, yep, we had a Santa rally in 2025, 2026. So are we going to get a Santa rally or a lump of coal? And as you reply to these posts, I just try to reply right back to you. Now, I also can be followed on LinkedIn. So you can follow me on X, you can follow me on LinkedIn, you can follow me on both. But I post here as well. Not always the same thing. Sometimes it's very different things that I post on the two platforms. Today it happened to be the same thing. But yeah, reply to me here. I'll reply to you, as long as you don't go into something that's too hot for me to handle. All right, everybody, go have a great new year. I will see you on Friday in 2026. I'll also look for you on social media. Hey, Connie, by the way, thanks for helping out in chat. And thank you to everybody that's already given me a thumbs up. With 90 people watching the live stream right now, as I click the refresh button, I can see that there are 33. About a third have already clicked that thumbs up button. That to me sounds like a little electronic applause, but it also gives my webcast a boost in the YouTube algorithm and lets more people find it. So it's always helpful. It doesn't cost anything. It only takes a second. Definitely appreciated. Yeah, anyway, guys, Happy New Year. I'll see you in a future webcast. I'll also look for you on social media. But whenever I see you again, until that moment arrives, I want to wish you the very best of luck. Happy trading. Bye-bye.